welcome to the program Mr. Stu Bergier, our executive producer, and best friend for I don't know how long, Pat Gray. And welcome to the program, Pat and Stu.
So good to be here.
Don't you agree, Stu?
So good to be here.
Just thinking about that.
Yeah. All right.
Glad you mentioned it.
So anyway, the idea that, my son started his coaching job at a university yesterday. I spent all day just texting him, hey, how's it going? What's happening? And he would text back, can't talk. Then the next text was really super busy. Call you later. Crazy stuff. Okay? That was the whole thing. He never once picked up the phone. He never once went into a long dissertation of what he was doing or anything else. And he certainly didn't say, by the way, how was the weather at the ranch? Now, you are expected to believe that Hunter Biden, in 20 high-level meetings about his job, was selling the illusion of his dad helping people out, but Joe Biden didn't know anything about it. And that during the Burisma meeting, Hunter Biden is having this emergency meeting where they are discussing the end of the company unless your dad does something to save us, get them to fire Shokin. They're having that meeting, and we are now supposed to believe that Hunter called his dad in the meeting, in the middle of that meeting, and said, hey, Dad, I just wanted to see how you were doing. I'm here in a meeting with a bunch of great guys. Just say hello. Well, hello. Yeah. So how's the weather in Washington, Dad? It's pretty good. And then hangs up the phone. We're expected to believe that? Wouldn't the people that bought into the, quote, illusion be a little pissed, going, hey, we've already heard about the weather at the last meeting. Are you going to ask your dad about any of this? Oh, well, yeah, of course I will, just not now. Oh, okay. Well, then his son is in violation of the foreign agent laws. He is representing a foreign country, and if his dad doesn't know, he sold the illusion that his dad would help. But Pat helped me out because his dad did do that a week later.
Yeah, this is a little known fact about Joe Biden. He has always wanted to be a meteorologist, and he loves.
Didn't know that.
And Hunter knows this, and so he gives him the opportunity to share weather forecasts when he meets with his business partners.
Oh,
and I think
most of the time, just wait.
Yeah.
He didn't just talk about the weather. Did he talk about low pressure systems and things?
From time to time. Yeah, and barometric pressure. He once told one of these guys that the barometric pressure was 29.30 and rising.
wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. But then he hung up.
So it was a little more complex, but only in a legal sort of way.
Oh, and only in a weather sort of way. Yeah, meteorological sort of way, if you will. And I think you will.
Well, it wouldn't, this is just me being a skeptic here, but let me just throw this out for just a moment.
All right.
Let's say you wanted to have multi-million-dollar business dealings with your drug-addicted son with overseas companies, and you didn't want to necessarily create a trail of witnesses and, let's say, maybe recordings of you talking about that.
Sure.
How would you execute a philosophy, a strategy that might accomplish that goal? Let me just throw one out there. You're at the meeting, and with the other, Pat and I are talking about a very important radio deal that we're thinking about discussing. And I say to Pat, "Hey, Pat, you know what? Just so you know, I happen to have a close contact with the only Radio Hall of Famer." Glenn Beck, and I can get him on the phone right now. Whatever, look, I can get him on the phone right now. What do we get him on the phone right now? I'll ask him about the weather.
Why don't you?
Ring, hey, Glenn, what's the weather there at the ranch?
What?
Yeah. What's the weather
What
like
are you guys
there?
doing?
Now,
It's
if
nice. Now, here's if I were involved,
Right.
I would tell you about the weather, and then I would say, hey, if there's any problems, I just want you to know on the record, I would be very disappointed if anything was given to me about your problems. I certainly couldn't participate in any of that stuff. What is it you guys are struggling with? Yeah, I can't help you at all. And the American people would be very disappointed if they ever heard that I was involved in anything like that. So I definitely will not be involved.
Right. I mean, everyone would know this is exactly how you do it, right? We would not put
Yes.
Glenn on the line in this conversation to say something overtly helpful or to say something that would get him in trouble, but just the showing that I can get him on the phone whenever I want is the brand that they're talking about here. This is what we're selling. We're selling, hey, we have
Try
access to this, and you might not be able to get this exactly from him in a contract, like in a normal business arrangement, because that would get everybody in trouble. But I'm going to be talking to my dad, and I'm going to talk to him about it behind the scenes, and he's going to agree with it, and let me just show you that I can get him on the phone whenever I want to prove to you this is real.
Now, we know from multiple people that have had access to Burisma dealings, we know that Hunter was being pressured like crazy to get his dad to do something. So is it that unreasonable? Let me ask you this. Is it more reasonable that Hunter, out of the blue, called his dad and they talked about the weather and nothing else? Or is it more reasonable they're like, you've got to call father now. When are you going to put up? We have paid you millions of dollars. We're Ukrainians. You might like to take a leap off of top of building soon. And he says, look, I can't talk to my dad right now, but I will talk to him tonight. You say this every time. Hang on just a second. Boop, 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 boop. Dad. Hey, how you doing? That's great. You tell an amazing story. Hey, listen, I'm in the middle of something right now for business, and I don't want to talk to you about it, but are you going to be around tonight? I just need a few minutes of your time on an unrelated thing. I think he just said yes. Click. That's more reasonable than anything that they're saying that he just called just out of the blue. Now, they can't prove at this point that Joe Biden said anything on the phone call or was involved. But to believe that, you have to dismiss two things that we know absolutely positively are true. He was on the phone talking about the weather at that emergency meeting in Dubai with all of the heads of Burisma, where they were talking about the end of the company unless Victor Shokin was fired. And then, in a coincidence, Joe Biden comes to Ukraine a week later and gets Shokin fired by using the power of the presidency and the vice presidency. Now, maybe you believe that to be a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. Now, if it's just that coincidence and nothing else happened, okay. But we also have a dinner in China where the Chinese guy who gave more access to more money and partnered, the Chinese government partnered with Joe Biden's son after they just started their investment firm. Remember, it's the crack addict and the son of John Kerry, and the other partner is an Abercrombie Fitch underwear model. Okay? Well, he was also a lacrosse player. The Chinese government, out of the blue, give them more access and more backing, financial backing, than anyone, Goldman Sachs, Citibank, Bank of America. And we're supposed to believe that Joe Biden went to a dinner meeting with all of those people and didn't discuss anything. Nothing. Then we're supposed to believe that a oligarch that was not allowed to be in the United States was hired Hunter to get that reversed, and Hunter Biden, in his crack-addled hooker syphilis mind, somehow or another got her off the do not enter list, and then she came to the United States and had dinner with Dad after a $3.4 million check was written. But they only talked about the weather.
Yep. And that's so much more evidence that you just mentioned in a couple minutes than they had in 5 years of investigating Donald Trump for Russian collusion. I mean, they had absolutely nothing on him. There was nothing to get. And you've got all of this stuff piling up with the Biden crime family. And still, the Republicans are sitting on their hands in the House of Representatives. Get this guy impeached. It's time for him to go. It's time for him to go.
It really is amazing. I mean, his defense at this point is basically, well, okay, my son, who you all know is a drug addict and had all sorts of problems, was selling my name without my knowledge. And now it's important to note that he hasn't actually said that. First of all, it's a crime for Hunter. Mm-hmm. But secondly, they haven't actually said that. Like, the media has filled in the blanks for the president on this. And what the media has done is say, well, they were just selling the illusion of influence. Okay, now back off from everything else we know about this guy and everything else we've known over the past few years. There's a plausible situation here where a drug-addicted kid could be doing this, right? Like, it is theoretically possible in a circumstance where the president or the vice president at the time would not know about this, and their crazy son was doing this on, without his knowledge. That's possible. But number one, if it were true, someone in the media needs to get the Biden, Joe Biden, on the record saying it's true. Put him on record saying, yes, my son was committing this crime, as we all know now, and number one. And number two, I had no knowledge of it. Because then we can start chipping away at that lie. Because this has to go step by step by step. If we do not get them on record with these defenses, they have this generic denial shoulder shrug thing they're doing, and no one in the media ever follows up on it. What they do instead is insert their own excuses for things he's not even saying.
Yeah.
He needs to be put on the record. If this is what happened, if this WhatsApp message, which said, hey, I'm here with my dad right now, if that's a lie, then say it's a lie. They haven't even confirmed or denied that it's real. No one has, a couple people have asked about it, but they have not gotten an answer on it. How are they not swarming them every day to get this answer? Put him on record to say, yes, my son did this. I know I said he did nothing wrong for years and years and years. I was wrong. I didn't have the knowledge about this situation. He was lying to me too. And then we'll have that locked down and we can chip away at that. But the way this is working right now is we make all these accusations. No one ever says that they're untrue. And they just float out there forever because the media never picks up on any of it. It's really frustrating. But all of this stuff is out there. And we've shown this for years and years. I know, Glenn, you've done shows, show after show after show, special after special after special on this. And it never gets anywhere because the media seems so uninterested because they don't want Donald Trump to be the president. Well, that's not their job. They're supposed to be able to actually be journalists, and they don't seem to be interested in that at all.
30 seconds, Pat. Anything else? Last word?
No, I think that pretty well summed it up. Let's just start the impeachment process now. I mean, are Republicans going to do anything about this? I mean, every once in a while they come out and they do a press conference. That's about it. I know, but you don't need the Senate to do the impeachment process. You don't need that.
No,
at least impeach him and let's see what happens.
Yeah, he should at least be impeached. And his son should go to jail.
Yes.
I'm hoping that the judge that had that sweetheart deal proposed to her says, there's some really interesting things going on here. Absolutely not. No matter what you say, no. But it'll be interesting to see if she caves.